Check 1 2. 1 2. Check 1. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. 1 2. 1. Test 1. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Mic check 1 2.
I can hear you.
I'm not getting feedback. I think I get feedback.
Vibration, no. Like an echo. No.
Like this one is
Check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. Mic check. Mic check 1 2. Ready to start. Mic check 1 2.
So there's no echo yet.
Can you hear anything?
Okay.
Can hear you now.
Yes, so no. You mean like you have to do the design? Let's do our learning the practice and thing. So that's what.
Check 1 2. 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 Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. check one two.
You're going to read that one.
Yes.
And what day is off? That I saw it.
Huh? I didn't hear you. Who is going to? Who is going to where? Nothing. Nothing. Small thing. Small thing.
What's the thing of that?
Social and emotional well-being of your child. Àwọn ọmọ ẹ̀ ṣe báyìí náà ó ti yẹ kó wà níbí. Àmì máa bá some people ṣe arrogance mo fẹ́ pè ní I don't get it. No. I am so angry. It's a need for anything. No. You don't say I'm a home and deliver. I don't know. Oh, she wake up because she told me she's on her way. Morning, Mr. Are you close, ma'am? Yeah, you are not going to wait for it. Yes, sir. Oh, no problem. Okay, just say that I need to straight get on that France. I'll get it as an Hello, ma'am. Okay, come. That's there. So now I've joined.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. Hello, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Good morning, Mrs. Bobby.
Thank you very much. Good morning. Right now we...
Good morning, Mrs. Moby.
Thank you, ma'am. We don't really have parents on board right now, but we'll just give them a grace of 5 minutes, then we'll start. Just 5 minutes, so we'll start the program.
And your mouth is learning therapy.
What is the other?
if you behave right, we can.
My technique is monitoring. Bring my go on the speaker. Let's say on number 46. Number 46. You only pick. I've been waiting for me to get waiting for my friends.
Okay.
Bluetooth mode. Turn on mode. NUX mode.
Mahmoud, come here. Come on. Come on.
Hello, once again. Hello, good morning, once again.
There is COVID. There's also a demon fear of contacting COVID. A demon. There is animosity.
Please unmute yourself. Mute yourself, please.
Increasing family struggles. Social
Hello. Please, we should try and control our phones. Please mute yourself, please. Hello, good morning, everyone. I can still hear some noises there.
Good morning, Miss Mobi.
I want to watch please, so that I know you can hear me.
Mrs. Mobi, we can hear you.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much. So we will start the program, but before we do that, I just want to heartily welcome everyone, parents and teachers, to today's program. And before anything, as I usually say, is we'll just give everything to God. We call on the Most High God to take absolute control of all we are going to do today. So we are going to have an opening prayer, and we'll call on Mrs. EJ. Is Mrs. EJ there to give us the opening prayer? Ma'am, if you're there, please unmute yourself and give us the opening prayer. Hello, Mrs. EJ, are you there? Okay. So I'll call on, if Mrs. EJ is available, I'll call on Mrs. Sampson. Is she there to give us the opening prayer? Please unmute yourself if you are available, please.
Olele, I'm here.
Hello.
Hey,
Hello.
sorry, I'm here.
I don't. Mrs. Sampson, are you there? Okay, so I'll do the opening prayer myself. Father, in Jesus'
Should I
name.
help?
Father, we give you praise and adoration. We thank you once again for today.
Thank you,
We
Lord.
adore and glorify your holy name, and we thank you for making it possible for us to be here today. We ask, oh God, that you take absolute control of all we need to do today.
Amen.
And please, God, make this program a success in Jesus' name.
Amen.
That at the end of it all, may we have the full cause to glorify your holy name. In
Amen.
Jesus Christ's mighty name, we have prayed with thanksgiving.
Amen.
Okay, so without wasting much of our time, we are going to read out the profile of our guest speaker this morning. We have a guest speaker on the topic social and emotional well-being of your child. So she's going to talk on that with us. But before that, let's introduce her. And I'm going to read her profile. Our guest speaker this morning is Dr. Moji Nkechi Manuel. Dr. Moji Sola Nkechi Manuel. Dr. Moji Sola Nkechi Manuel joined the University of Lagos as a lecturer in the Department of Arts and Social Sciences, Early Childhood Education cohorts in 2011. Dr. Manuel received her BA Ed in Adult Education, English, in 1996 from the University of Lagos, M.Ed Early Childhood Education in 2002, training, building peace, that USPs into preschool, primary school curriculum, and facilitating at the undergraduate and master's level of
Network is bad here. I can't hear you.
And primary education related courses. Her vast knowledge in her field won her the award of best lecturer 2014 in her cohort and most prolific lecturer Hello. Hello. Sorry, the network is a bit bad. So we continue from where we stopped. In 2015, Dr. Manuel served as a researcher for UNICEF during the campaign against female genital mutilation.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Can anybody hear me?
I can hear you.
Good morning.
I can hear you.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Good morning.
Okay. I'll just take that and Dr. Manuel's profile again. I think Mrs. Moby's network is very bad. Okay, Dr. Manuel Nkechi Mojisola joined the University of Lagos as a lecturer in the Department of Arts and Social Sciences. Early childhood education cohort in 2011. Dr. Manuel received her BA in Adult Education English in the year 1996 from the University of Lagos. She proceeded with her Master's in Education, Early Childhood Education in 2002, had a PhD in Early Childhood Education in 2014, all from the prestigious University of Lagos. Dr. Manuel's teaching interests include training, building USPs into preschool and primary school curriculum, and facilitating instructions at the undergraduate and master's levels of ECE and primary education related courses. Her vast knowledge in her field won her the award lecturer in 2014 in her cohort, a most prolific lecturer 2015 in the same cohort. Manuel is currently a consultant for the Orderly Society, an NGO set up by the Vice President of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Oshibajo, to cater for the educational needs of disadvantaged children. She's also a facilitator at the Corona Schools Teacher Training College. In 2013, Manuel worked as a facilitator for UNICEF during the Mass Literacy Seminar for Lagos State teachers. In 2015, Dr. Manuel served as a researcher for UNICEF during the campaign against female genital mutilation, FGM. Dr. Manuel has written, presented, and published several papers, including an evaluation of the support and peer perception of inclusion in Lagos State, sexuality education, a tool against sexual abuse for the girl child, assessing the correlation between quantity and quality of early child care delivery. Between April and July 2016, Manuel joined the Chris Jolly team to conduct the EGRA Board Reading Assessment Test for Lagos State pupils. Dr. Manuel Mojisola is currently a two-time Senate member of the University of Lagos. She is also the current Hall Mistress of Madam Tinubu Hall in the University of Lagos and the current Director of the Sandwich Program in the University of Lagos. Dr. Manuel Mojisola is a member of the Committee of All Managers and also a member of the Loans and Bursary Committee in the University of Lagos. Dr. Manuel Nkechi Mojisola is happily married to Bimbo Manuel and blessed children. Welcome, Manuel. Over to you, ma'am.
For the slide.
Hello, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning. I can't hear anybody talking.
Good morning, ma.
Good morning, ma.
Good morning, wonderful parents. This is wishing you a blessed weekend.
Good morning.
Good morning
to Good morning.
Do I have permission to start? So this morning, I want to talk to you all. We want to share things on the child's social emotional needs. What exactly are we talking about when we say social emotional needs of children? And where do we come in? How can we foster this? When we fail to foster this, what are the consequences? Okay, so I want to believe that you're looking at the slides here. The first thing here is under the child emotional needs. I wrote something there. I said note. The child just wants to be seen, valued, and loved unconditionally. This is the foundation of high self-esteem. What do and how we act. So I want to go back to that word. The child just wants to be seen. What do we mean when we say the child wants to be seen? Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever experienced being ignored? Have you ever experienced wanting to be seen and the person is so determined not to see you? When we say the child wants to be seen, the child wants attention and acceptance. You know, sometimes even as mothers, you've done something to yourself, maybe beautiful hairstyle, you want something beautiful, and you want somebody to compliment you, and the person is behaving as if they've not seen it. How do you feel? This is actually the beginning, when the child feels ignored. And how then do we do this in this day and time when we are all so very busy and we don't even know what the child wants? And so I say, the child just wants to be seen. The only way I can communicate this to you is to ask you, how do you feel when you are being ignored? Children want to be accepted unconditionally. They want to be praised. That is not to say that you cannot reprimand a child, but a child wants to be praised. A child wants to be valued. I always tell people, the school comes in standard forms. What do I mean? In a school, you have classrooms, you have art room, you have computer room. There are things that must be in school for you to be a school, standard form. But children don't come in standard forms. Children have diverse needs. Children are peculiar. That's the reason why we cannot treat two children the same way. So I said the child wants to be seen, valued, and loved unconditionally. Children are not the same. They come in diverse forms. How do you love them unconditionally? When you can see that the elder one seemed, and I'm using the word seemed, far, far better in some things than the junior one. Yet, these children must be loved unconditionally. And I say, this is the foundation of high self-esteem. This is the big deal. I was talking to some people in a place the other time, and I said to them, to build the self-esteem of a child, it starts from day one that you give birth to that child. Self-esteem. In fact, it doesn't even start from day one, it starts from you. The first thing is, what is your acceptance level of the pregnancy? So high self-esteem. And I said to them, a child with a high self-esteem will never go into depression, will never think of suicide. But children can't pick high self-esteem on the road. Parents build it into them with what we say, with what we do, and how we act. These things are very important. A child that lacks self-esteem will never grow up a balanced adult. And you will see it in their attitude. In their attitude. So we want to move on now to the very first slide. And we want to look at emotion. What is emotion? Emotion has been explained as a strong feeling deriving from one's circumstances, moods, or relationships with others. Emotion has been explained as a strong feeling. Mind that word there, strong feeling. Deriving from one's circumstances in life, what your environment exposes you to, what your parents exposes you to, your moods or relationship with others. Look at these pictures of these 6 children here. We can see anger. We can see surprise mad with joy. We can see a happy face. We see a sad face. We see a shy girl. And we see a silly looking boy. But now the explanation is here. Emotions are often caused by our thoughts. This accounts for the reasons why 2 or more children going through the same thing will have different thoughts about the thing. Now, I have examples
sharing.
We're moving now. 2 children failing an examination. Child A thinks of suicide. Child B accepts it and is motivated to move on. Recently in a school, a child failed an exam, promotional exam. This boy got home and took sniper and he died. You want to ask yourself, why would that boy think of suicide?
We can't see the slides. We can't. It's not visible.
What could have been his foundation? That failure will lead to suicide for him. We want to go back now to the very beginning. Child B fails and is motivated to move on. The issue here is both of them failed. One decides to kill himself. The other decides to move on. The same thing happened to them, but different thought process. What could have been the foundation of these two children that will make one feel that suicide is the solution? I always tell people, don't ever tell me that cowards commit suicide. No. For you to override your survival instincts and take your life, you're not a coward. You're a wicked person. Now listen, a child commits suicide because he failed. Another commits suicide because another decides to move on. Can you see the background and the foundation of these children in what is happening now? Can you see what parents have contributed into their lives? Can you see that this thing must have happened because of their beginning, their training, what they were exposed to, the actions of the adults around them, the saying of the actions around them, the doing of the actions around them. That's why you will see this same thing happen, and you see such extreme behavior in one, and you see acceptance in one. This has a lot to do with parents. And it has to do with what has been put into these children. I can tell you categorically that for child A, his emotional needs were not met. And if at all they were met, they were wrongly and negatively met. Child B is a more balanced person. Let's move on to example 2. 2 children participate in a team exercise. Child A is happy for others succeeding in a team. Child B is jealous of others succeeding in a team. What could have accounted for this? What kind of mentoring were these children exposed to that will make one feel jealous and that will make one feel happy for others? Emotional needs. We're going to get there, but I'm just creating this just so that we can see. Example 3. 2 children are denied sweets or lollipop. Child A throws tantrum and embarrasses parents. Child B says, "Mommy, can I have it later then?" Can you see, ladies and gentlemen? These children didn't get this taught by themselves, not overnight. Actions, sayings, and doings of parents are a big contributing factor to what we're discussing right now. Let's go to the third one. The beginning. The question then is, what kind of foundation do all these children have? What is the foundation of their emotional well-being? Why would one have extreme thoughts and the other is positive? Whether we believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, the emotional need of a child determines a lot, including the type of adults the child turns out to be. Let's just do a little digress. Sometimes you have friends and you wonder why they are the way they are. Sometimes your spouse and you wonder why he or she is like this. You can see selfishness. You can see intolerance. You see so many things and you wonder, but I don't understand why he's like this. It's not him. It all boils down to the very beginning, what they gave him. After all, you can't give more than you have. Fine. So now we're going to the beginning, attachment and its implication. There's something called attachment theory in psychology. In a nutshell, attachment theory is not a theory that says that Every human being demands positive attachments, positive closeness with caregivers. And the foundation of this is from day 1 to 6 months. Now listen, that is the biggest deal. Day 1 to 6 months, you want to build attachment. I want to take you back to something. Do you know sometimes you see a child, a woman gives birth to a baby, and in a month's time, she has to go back to work. Maybe her mom is around. And her mom spends 1 month with her. Her mom stays 1 month with her. And mom has to go. Another person comes on board. You know, the day you leave that child after 1 month to resume work, the child is cranky. Depending on his temperament, some children may not eat the whole day. It takes him a while to accept the fact that you're not there like you used to be. So you bring in your mom. And your mom spends another month. The child is beginning to get attached to the mother again. And in a month's time, grandma has to go back. And then you have to pick a nanny. And you bring another nanny on board. And the child starts to adapt all over again. And in a while, maybe 2 months, there is a problem with the nanny. And the nanny goes. Ladies and gentlemen, that child is going to have serious trust issue. That's a big deal for him. He can't talk because he can't talk. You don't know what he's going through, and you feel you're dealing with a child. But this is a child who is learning to love and unlove and love and unlove and love and unlove. He is going to grow up as an adult with a serious trust issue. And so you don't know what is wrong. And it's going to manifest in 2 areas. It's either he has you as a girlfriend, or he has a friend, and it becomes overly positive. I mean possessive, overly possessive. Because something in the back of his brain tells him nothing good lasts. So he becomes overly possessive. Or he becomes overly so distrusting of people. And so he's your husband. And you're very faithful. And you're asking him, what else do you want? What else do you want? It's not him. That area of his life was wrongly met. In his brain, nothing good lasts forever. He doesn't trust good things anymore. And this starts from attachments. The same way, when you have the opportunity of having the child all to yourself, maybe you're a housewife, and you don't allow the child to mix with anybody. He's with you 24/7. You are the Alpha and the Omega. You don't allow him to mix. He will not develop social skills. It's also a problem because he wouldn't know how to maintain relationship. He won't even know how to communicate. Can you see the beginning now? Now, even when you have to go out, when you come back, do you make time for attachments? Do you make time for communication? I used to tell parents, communication is not only in talking, it is in watching out the body language with children. It is in listening more to what the child is not saying, but his eyes are saying. So that's it. I hope we're beginning to evaluate things right now. This is the very, very beginning. And so we're moving on. So then now, what are the emotional needs of children? Remember, at this point, like I said earlier on, the child just wants to be seen. What is it to want to be seen? The child needs attention. The child needs acceptance. The child wants to be valued, like it means something, like it's important to you. I'm not saying this is, you don't have to reprimand the child, but like the child is important to you and loved unconditionally. You have a fat baby, you don't say you eat too much, you're going to blow up. You're building something negative in that child already. Striving to have a perfect child and expectations of perfection in a child is the beginning of stress for both the parents and the child. There is no perfect child. We all have our strengths and weaknesses. Explore the strengths. A child may not be very, very brilliant, but is the most caring individual around you. We should not strive to have a perfect child. After all, you are not perfect. It's like when people are talking about special needs children. It makes me laugh. And every time I talk to people, I say, I want you to know that we all have our special needs. Every human being has their special needs. So don't say because the child is blind, there's a big deal, or the child is deaf. We all have one thing or the other that we're struggling with. Now, a look at the emotional needs of children. The first one is love and attention. How do you even love the child? I was asking some people this 2 days ago, and somebody said about buying things for the child. I said, that's not love. That is why, ladies and gentlemen, you will see a child of a pepper seller standing beside the mother, and it is raining. You come in your car and you tell the child, come in. The child will say no and hold on to his mother. It's not about gifts. Love and affection is in what we do, what we say, and how we say it. Somebody told a woman, said, I love you. And the woman replied beside me, said, told the husband, you have a funny way of showing it. Oh my days. It is in what we do, what we say, and how we say it. Love and attention. Let's talk about that, ladies and gentlemen. We know that we need to work for these children. We're not working for ourselves. We're working for their future. But we must find a middle way where we still meet up with them. It is wrong, ladies and gentlemen, to go to work before your children are awake and you come back when they are asleep. You're not building anything in the life of that child. So many children have suffered so much over this. As a lecturer in the University of Lagos, I've been opportune to see and hear so much. A girl graduated 2 years ago, and in her story, we grew very close. In her story, I was teaching something one day. She followed me back to my office and said to me, Dr. Manuel, every time I hear people talk about virginity, it aches my heart. I said, why? She said, you know, my mom used to work with UN, and my father was a banker. And since she was 7 years old, the driver slept with her for 4 solid years. Severally, she tried telling her mom. She couldn't say it with her mouth because the guy kept threatening her. But she would look at her mom and praying in her heart, can't you see what is going on with me? Can't you just ask me? Can't you just do something? But the woman would say, listen, I'm doing everything for you. Don't throw tantrum here. I'm doing everything for you. In July, you're going on holiday. You can't kill me. And this thing went on for solid 4 years. She said, after a while, I started to misbehave badly, thinking I could get the attention of the family. Then I became the black sheep of the family. Today, to be sincere with you, Dr. Manuel, I hate my mom. You see, ladies and gentlemen, she thought she was working for this child. She didn't know how to meet her emotional needs. At this point, I want to say to you, don't ever go to bed in a day without communicating with that child. Without communicating with that child. The peace of that child is your peace. And communication, like I said, is not just listening to what the child is saying. It is watching out for the body language. It is trying to hear more what the child is not saying than what the child is saying. It is looking and maintaining eyes contact. If you don't do all this, you wouldn't know what needs to meet in the life of the child. Yoruba people have a proverb. Ojú lọ̀rọ̀ wà. When a child is talking to you, you look at the eyes so you can see what the eyes is saying. The foundation of love in a child is too important. If you don't love the child feels worthless. And anybody can bully the child outside. Anybody can bully the child outside. This is the beginning of low self-esteem and depression. You know what? I have a plump girl. My second daughter is on the big side. And since I realized she was small, it's not because of what she is, it's her nature. She is one person I tell every time, Tammy girl, you are so damn beautiful. At a point she said, Mommy, I guess in your eyes, nobody can be as beautiful as I am. I said, yes, nobody can be as beautiful as my children. I have so built her self-esteem that when you see my daughter today, she's 22, she rocks her weight. She rocks herself because there can only be one Tammy. You're unique. Learn with what you say to raise the self-esteem of that child. We all marvel these days about the things that children do, the extreme that they go to. How can a child take sniper? It's because nobody has taken out time to build the child's self-esteem. This is part of love and affection, accepting the child and loving the child unconditionally. Now, the next one is trust. I told you earlier on about attachment here and how trust starts in the life of the child from day one. Trust is something that parents build in children. You don't even want to know what it is. When a child does not have trust for anything, they turn out very terrible adults, backstabbing adults, angry adults, adults that will betray other people. How do you build trust in a child? Do you do what you say you will do? Do you do what you say you will do? Listening to the child is part of trust. I used to tell my last boy, and that was when it changed. I said, if you lie to anybody in this life, don't ever lie to your mom, because she may be the only person that will stand for you. So as it is, no matter how bad the issue is, he will tell me the truth. Trust is very important. Do you even believe that child? You know, because we're in Africa, where we tell children, listen, that it's not lying against you. It's not lying against you. When a child gets to a level where he knows that nobody believes him anyway, you've lost that child. He will never bother to tell you the truth anymore. What about attention? Do you know that children naturally, they not only want attention, they want to please you. Children want to please their parents, but it's about how you go about it. It has a lot to do with how you go about it. Children want to please you. They demand your attention. I was in a school last July, prize giving day, and here was a nursery 2 child. No, he was going to primary 1. Yes, he was going to primary 1. They were doing graduation for them. They wanted to take pictures. The boy refused. Said, I'm waiting for my mommy. I'm waiting for my mommy. The boy refused to participate in everything. I wanted to cry. And I said to myself, I hope this woman comes. Because if she doesn't come, it will damage something in the life of this boy. But she won't know it today. Even the boy won't know what it is. Trust. I am waiting for my mommy. And the woman came very, very, very late. I wanted to shed tears for her because she doesn't even know what she has done to that child. We cannot afford to miss the milestones of our children. What are milestones? Important happenings in their lives. As long as we are alive, we have to be there. It means something to them. It speaks something to them. It builds something in them. That's an emotional need of acceptance. If I'm important, she will be here. Until you didn't come, say, well, I'm not important to her. I remember last year, was it last year? Yes, sometimes last year, September. My daughter was writing a final exam in engineering. And that day I had a very big training. They were going to pay me a lot of money. And my daughter said to me, Mommy, as I'm coming out of the exam hall, please, I want to see you. I want to sign. I want you to sign on my t-shirt. I want you to be the first person to sign on my t-shirt. That's a 22-year-old girl. And guess what I did? I canceled my training. I said I have to be there for my daughter. I ordered a cake. As she was coming out of the exam hall, I was standing and I gave her a hug. Thank you. You've made me proud. I want to sign now and go back for my lectures. That thing will never leave a memory for her, for life. Ladies and gentlemen, forget the age. We all have the same emotional needs. But she could request for my time because she knows that I will always be there. I know the importance. It is just telling her, you are important to me. We're looking at the emotional needs of children. Now we want to look at empathy. Empathy. How do you show empathy to the child? Somebody was telling me yesterday, my daughter, who is a medical doctor, said, Mommy, I feel bad. A boy was having CS crisis, and they called the mom, and the mom said, I'm not around. Eventually she came, and she came and was telling the girl, the boy, I'm going to slap you. And she was starting to poke the boy's head until everybody shouted, this boy is having a crisis. This is not the time to do this. Shut up, I don't have the time now. Shut up, I'm busy right now. No, no, no. This thing speaks a lot into their lives. It means a lot to their future. Have you ever wondered, having a spouse that doesn't care? You are crying, and she's so moved, and he's so moved. Check his foundation. When we try to meet the emotional needs of children, we're only trying to make the world go around peacefully. We are only trying to make the world go around peacefully. You see people committing hideous crime, and you wonder, is this a human being? No empathy. Nobody put it there. Those needs were not met. Recently, we all heard about the story of 3 boys who took a girl under 21 boys. They cut off her head and they were burning her head. No empathy. People didn't bother to build that area of their lives. We're going to get there. How do we build empathy in children? We also want to look at routine. That's why I know, especially for the mothers, it's very hard. You have to go to work. You have to mind the family. You have to mind the home. You have to build a routine. I tell people, when you build routine in children, when you have solid and a positive routine for children, you're only trying to make them orderly adults, responsible adults, adults who don't give up, adults who know what to do at the right time, adults who don't procrastinate. Routine in children. I was telling a parent yesterday, I said, tell that child you will read with him for 30 minutes because he doesn't like to read. And give him the time. The 30 minutes could probably be 7 to 7:30, and make sure whatever you are doing, that 30 minutes starts at a regular time. When you do it for 1 week, the child will know you mean business. What about safety? When we talk about safety, parents always imagine we're talking about big homes and gated houses. No way. We have terrible adults around children. Pedophiles. Who are the people surrounding your children? How do you keep them safe from her? How do you keep your children safe from these people? Surrounding children. Safety goes beyond big house, gated houses, and security men. Safety in the house. Safety from terrible adults. Safety. Children get to a level, they know that you will do everything to keep them safe. And children also get to a level, they know, say, my mother is careless. Yes. So now, let's move on to the next one. Aside other things, how can we maintain or foster the emotional needs of children? Aside for the ones I just mentioned now, you have to tell children as often as possible that you love them. Even when you spank them, you have to tell them you love them. One woman was telling me yesterday, I don't ever go to bed. I don't ever go to bed without telling my children that I love them. 3 are abroad, I call them every day. And the last thing I say is, remember, Mama loves you. Say, I love you too. You give them attention. You give praise. Yes. Do you know what praise does to you as an adult? It does the same thing to children. Give praise. Tell them they can. Yes, I always say it. You can do it. Don't tell me you can't do it. You can do it. I was telling my son yesterday, so you're going to score 300 in Jan. Say, Mommy, I said, you can do it. Tell yourself, I can. And take your action. Remind your children of their strengths every time. Spend quality time with your children. Play with your children. Some parents don't even know how to play with their children. I'm telling you, very hard parents. And you know, ladies and gentlemen, I don't blame them. You can't give more than what you have. But then we can learn. We can convert. And that's why we're doing what we're doing. Play with your children. They are your children, and an extension of you. Play with your children. Let them laugh with you. Let them smile with you. Then I say again, show up. Children have milestones, and your life so that you can be there. Show up when you need to show up. Don't hide it. Don't give it to other people. Show up is your responsibility. I was at a prize giving day, July, another one, and the boy was taking overall best. His mom came, his father came, Grandma came, grandpa came, mouth. The people that came for this boy, they were like 10. And I was telling my friend that the self-esteem of this child will be so high. Because all these people for him, he can't forget. They do something to your personality. Respect their space and their feelings. We're going to get there. Respect their space and their feelings. Do you know how you feel when people don't respect your feeling? Don't tell a child you don't have a right to feel like this. Well, he's feeling like that. Talk to him about his feelings. Don't put his feelings down. Talk to him about it. And I also say here, talk with your children. Don't talk them down. Don't talk down at them. Talk with them. Converse with them. So what do you feel we should do? So what's your opinion about this? Are you sure this is what you want to do? Talk with your children. Don't talk down at them. Know their friends, even as young as they are. Know their friends. That's why you find in advanced country, even when they're in primary school, they say they're doing sleepover time. When you know the friends of your children, do you know what you're trying to know? You're trying to find out what attracts them. What categories, what manner of people attracts them? It's like you asking your 17-year-old, okay, so it's your birthday. Do you want to bring 10 of your friends, come to the house, have a small party, and then the girl, your daughter, invites boys with braided hair. They have dreadlock and everything. Well, you should know that that kind of thing attracts her. When I say know their friends, you're just trying to know more about your own child. You're just more about your own child, not necessarily those people. And at this point, it will help you to know the adjustment that you need to do. I say, ask their opinion. Ask your children opinion. It's their lives anyway, it's not yours. Ask the opinion. You're just there to counsel. Like we're talking about parenting now. We have consultant parents. Consultant parenting, they ask more of the child's opinion. They don't lord it over them. Then I say, be patient with your children. Be patient with them. Finally, this is what I also want to talk about. Acknowledge when you're wrong. Learn to say sorry. Acknowledge it when you are wrong. Learn to say sorry. If you don't say sorry, you will never raise children who will be able to say sorry, and it can destroy their homes. It can destroy their relationships. Acknowledge it when you're wrong. I'm sorry, it's my fault. Do you forgive me? I am sorry. When children don't hear you say such things, they will never know it's right to say it. Okay, so we move on now. And the nenext one I have here is, sorry, I'm trying to get something done here. Okay, oh shit. Okay. Yeah. Whoa. Yeah. Okay. Come down a little. Come down. Come down. Okay. No. Where are you using? Oh. This guy went to the back. Oh my God. Still on emotional needs. So right now, We want to look at these emotional needs of children and how they're tied to the child right arts. You know, children have rights. We keep trying to tell adults, because I'm in early childhood education, that children have rights, like 27 rights. And people asked me the other time during the Human Rights Day, said, how do children enjoy their rights? I said, in Nigeria, don't talk to me about children enjoying their rights. How will you enjoy what you don't know that you have? But children have rights. And at this point in time, I have brought out some of those rights of children that are tied to the emotional needs. The rights are tied to the emotional needs, and they're very important for us to know. So look at some of these rights of children. Right to life. The child has a right to live. Don't do anything that will endanger the life of the child. When you do things that will promote the life of this child, you're trying to meet the emotional needs of the child. The child has a right to be heard and be defended. He has a right, he has a voice. Please give your children and let them know that they have a right to be heard. Listen to them. And if there is need, defend them. They have a right to be heard. Let them, whatever issue, whatever case, let them be able to express their own side of the issue. Don't shut them down. When you don't shut children down, you listen to them, you defend them, you are meeting their emotional needs. Children have a right, is to freedom of expression. To freedom of expression. They have a right to express themselves, ladies and gentlemen. What we need to do as adults is to teach them to always express themselves respectfully. We live in a society where we know how to shut down children because of our culture. So here, shut up. You don't talk when adults are talking. That's very wrong. Children have a right to freedom of expression. What we need to do is to teach them to express themselves respectfully. The child has a right to an identity. That's why you fill birth certificates when you give birth to a child. And you hear height, a gender, the child has a right to an identity. So in this society, you find adults calling children, you, come here, you. There's no child that is called you. The child has a name. When you call the child you are infringing on the rights of the child. The child has a right to an identity. Giving the child an identity shows that the child is a human being that is well valued and respected. Making the child know and respecting his identity shows that you are telling the child you are important. You are using also this to meet the needs of the child. The child has a right to participate in matters or issues that directly affect them. We live in a society where we think that in all cases, we have to take decisions for children. But there's a right that is saying he has a right to participate in matters or issues that directly affect them. Doesn't affect you directly, it affects the child directly. So his opinion is important. Now, the child has a right to be protected. How do we protect our children? Is it with the drivers or the nannies? How do we protect our children? How do we ensure the protection? Right against harmful traditional practices. Some of us are still so deeply entrenched in culture. But here, said the child has the right against harmful traditional practices. What are those practices that we know are harmful? Do we still expose children to them? Here again, said the child has a right to leisure and recreational activities. We are fond of locking up our children. Even some schools do it. You see only playing things, playing facilities, and children are not allowed close to them. Once the child enters the house, it's locked up and faces only computer. But here you see, right to leisure and creative activities. Do we find time to take the children out for recreational activities? Then right to a standard of living that is good enough to meet their physical and mental needs. Finally, right to privacy. You know, it's so amazing around here when parents want to enter their children's room, they don't even knock. They don't even knock. They pick their children's phone. But here, it says right to privacy. These things, because they're called emotional needs. When you meet them, you don't know you are meeting something deep that will affect the child as an adult. His total output as an adult. When you don't meet them, you don't know you are causing a lot of harm that you will see later on that may take away your peace. So still looking for ways to meet the emotional needs of your children, start by implementing these rights. There are 27 rights, but I've put out the ones I feel that you need to look at properly. Most of us don't even believe that children have privacy, talk less of respecting them. We move again. Let's go on. Okay. So we also want to go to, okay. The next one now. Importance of meeting the emotional needs of your children. So when you try so hard, and so this thing should come naturally to us as parents. But you see why I'm going to make them a big deal? Because most parents didn't even have it. So they don't even know it and they're not ready to. I always counsel school to have counseling desks for parents. But that is only if some parents will agree that they lack some things. I've met a parent who came to meet me before. I said, Dr. Manuel, I know I have failed. Meaning that some people need to actually seek to be parented all over again. I'm also a parent. When I fall out, I seek help because no man knows it all. So that's why I'm not going to say this thing should come natural to us. Sometimes it can't come natural to you when you don't have it. So now I want to look at the importance of meeting the emotional needs of your child. What are some of the importance here? When you meet the emotional needs of the child develops well socially. And I want you to know at this point, ladies and gentlemen, that the connection between the emotional needs and the social needs of a child is strong. A child that is well balanced and is emotionally balanced, is emotionally okay, will be a responsible and a responsive social adult. So when you have met the emotional needs of a child, the child develops well socially. That is, the child is grouped with good emotional skills because he is a happy child. A happy child will learn well. A happy child will respond well. A happy child will develop into a responsible adult. A happy child will have resilience. The child has a strong resilience. What is it to have resilience? We come across challenges in life, but a child that is emotionally balanced will not see them so much as challenges. Okay, yes, so we pass this again. And he does everything with a smile. Suicide will not come in. Depression will not come in. Crankiness will not come in. The child has a high self-esteem. And this is a big deal in the world of today, where the child cannot have everything. So high self-esteem basically has nothing to do with a child coming from a very wealthy home. No, it's the amount of love that a child has that determines the child's self-confidence. The child has better peer relationship. When you meet the emotional needs of your child, he has better peer relationship. The child has respect for other people. There's respect for others. He will respect the individual differences of the people he comes across. Those are adults who will tell you, it's okay, it's okay, we're not the same. Meanwhile, some adults are shouting and stamping their feet, and somebody is telling you, it's okay, we're not the same, we can't be the same. Just, they really don't know what to say to you at the end of the day, because to them it's not a big deal. The child has a healthy, emotional outlook to life. The emotional outlook to life is positive. The child does not develop trust issues. The child finds it easier to express his or herself. Have you seen adults who can't express themselves? I have seen it. They can't express themselves. And this affects their relationship, even in marriage. And by the time they're trying to talk, it's a volcano. The child is a good team player. The child develops resilience towards negative peer pressure. Such children don't go into drug easily. They don't go into cults. They don't go into occultic things easily. You don't find them in cults. Because they have resilience towards negative peer pressure. Because they've been brought up well. They have self-confidence in themselves. They're not looking for what is not there. The child also have good parent-child. There's also good parent-child relationship. Good parents-child relationship. The child will understand you and you will understand the child always. And I know that that's what we all seek in our children. Okay, so we move to the next one. Let us look at social skills. So what are social skills? Social skills are everyday skills used to interact and communicate with others. Everyday skills, we use them to interact and communicate with others. Some people don't know how to communicate. You hear Kotia Moroso, you don't know how to talk, you're so rude, you don't know how to talk, you're so rude because they lack social skills. These skills make the world go around peacefully. It's important for us to have good social skills. Social skills make the world go around peacefully. Some examples of social skills needed by children are as follows: cooperation. You have to let children develop the skill of cooperation. That's what life is about. No man is an island. We work together. We move together to achieve a beautiful goal. You have to also help children to develop verbal and written communication. Like I said, some people don't know how to communicate. It's not good in the world of today. I was telling somebody yesterday, I said, so you are reporting this to me. It has been going on the last 3 years, yes. And he did this, and he did this, and did you ever tell him? No. I said, that's wrong. That's wrong, because there are people in this world that doing bad things that they don't know until you tell them. You have to help the child to develop verbal and written communication skill. Then there is active listening. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a big deal. I've seen couple that listening has scattered their marriage. They divorced. Said he will never listen. Dr. Manuel, he doesn't listen. This is a very terrible thing. But you won't blame him because nobody taught him. That's why it's very difficult for adults to change. Have you seen adults who don't listen? It's a terrible thing. Before you say one, they've said five. They're not ready to listen. They're not hearing to hear your side of the story. And this thing kills relationship like anything. You also have to teach children how to follow rules. We don't live in a jungle. There are children who don't know how to follow rules because they have not taught them to let them know that anywhere you find yourself, there may be rules. Follow the rules as long as it is not demeaning you. Follow the rule as long as it is not demeaning. You also have to teach children the social skills of taking turns. We're not animals. You see what it does to our society today. Go to the petrol station, people who can take turns, and you see people fighting, throwing bottles, because people have not gathered the skills of turn taking. You also have to teach children on how to show empathy. It's also a social skill. You have to show empathy, to show that you're a human being, to show that you have feelings, to show that you have blood running in you. Respect for others. Respect for others. We're going to a place now, and that place is where we're going to talk to ourselves. If you don't teach children how to show respect for others, a time will come they will show respect for you. Even you will suffer it. You have to teach children how to stay calm with others. You don't talk all the time. Now, how do parents foster these skills in children? Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you the biggest truth here. If you want to foster social skills, it starts from you. What your children see you do is what they will do. Final. If they see that you don't show respect for others, they will never learn to show respect for others. They will never learn to respect other people. If your children don't see you taking turns, they see you taking the opposite direction of road, they don't see you taking turns, they will never learn to take turns. That's it. If your children don't see you showing empathy to others, they will never ever show empathy to others. You want children to develop good social skills? It is you. It is you. I was making a joke with my friend the other time. I said, you are carrying Bible to office. People carry Bible in your phone now. So I carry my Bible. I say, listen to me. You are the first Bible that your children will read. If it is children we're talking about, you are the first Bible that your children will read. When it comes to social skills, it is what children see you do that they will do. Sometimes ago, I was in a school, and the mother was going with a 2-year-old girl, two plus, and the girl wanted to greet me. She knelt down, and I bent down, and I carried her. I said, wow. And I asked the mom, do you kneel down for people? She said, a lot. That's what that girl was doing, because what she sees her mom doing is what she started to do. You want to teach social skills, you see those things there, taking turns, cooperating with others, respecting others, showing empathy. It is you. It is me. It is you. What children see you do is what they will do. The second one is you can also use storytelling. Storytelling, stories with values to teach social skills. You can use reading to teach social skills, but basically, you are the mirror that the child is watching. You want to teach social skills. You want to teach emotional skills. Ladies and gentlemen, it is you, it is me. We move. So we go to the next one. Implication of lack of social skills in children. For you to appreciate the importance of social skills, ladies and gentlemen, and why we say it makes the world go around peacefully, let us take a look at the implication of lack of social skills in children. Stress. The children will be stressed. And when a child is stressed, his emotion is frail. When the emotion is frail, depression is knocking at the door. Loneliness. A child that does not have social skills will be a lonely child because people will not want to be his or her friend. Poor communication. The child can communicate well. He means something else and he's saying something else. Lack of tolerance. He's an irritable child because he doesn't have social skills. Bad temper, and temper tantrum. Because he doesn't have social skills. So when he can't get his own way, when everything is not about him, he will show bad temper. He will show tantrum. The feeling of worthlessness. Do you know when you're a bad person, or you're not a bad person, you just don't know how to do it the way it should be done. People avoid you, and you become lonely. Worthlessness is there. Worthlessness is there. And from worthlessness, depression knocks the door. Selfishness. Children who can't share. Children who can't cooperate. They have complex problems, including academic issues. They may not do well. There is also low self-esteem. Because when people avoid you, because maybe of your bad attitude, you have low self-esteem. Inability to sustain and maintain good relationship. So you find out that such people usually lose their friends easily. Okay, so we move now. Relationship between emotional and social needs. The value of the emotional development a child has ultimately determines the child's social development. So emotional development will determine social development. A child that is emotionally balanced will grow up a happy adult with resilience, cool temper, and everything. A child with positive emotional development becomes a positive adult in different areas, such as relationship, academic, self-confidence, empathy, and high evaluation. Nobody can put me down because I'm not a tall woman. No, no, no. I know my value. High valuation is important. That's where self-esteem comes from. Healthy emotional development will produce a valuable, dependable, and useful member of the society. Positive emotional development also equips a child with a balanced and positive way of perceiving and approaching problems of life. Let me tell you, the way you approach the problems of your life has a lot to do with your emotion. And your emotion is coming from your thoughts. Your thoughts comes from how well or how bad your emotion is. That's why this thing must be taken from when the child is very small. I told you about attachment theory. It's a big deal. Every human being is born with the expectation of bonding with a caregiver. And this expectation will go till 6 months. Listen, from that day on to when the child is 6 months, what the child gets in the area of bonding and rebonding determines a lot the kind of adult that the child turns out to be. So I say, remember, the child just wants to be seen. And I say, if you want to understand what it is to be seen, I will ask you, how do you feel when you're being ignored? The child just wants to be seen, wants to be accepted, wants to be appreciated, valued, and loved unconditionally. This is the foundation of high self-esteem. It all boils down, and this is where I want us to hold on to today. It all boils down to what we say, how we say it. You can tell somebody I love you, and they don't believe it because your action doesn't show love. It all boils down to what we say, how we say it, what we do, and how we act as adults. It is important to note that what we do or fail to do can make, listen, it is important that we note, ladies and gentlemen, that what we do or what we fail to do as adults can make or mar the entire future of the child. This also translates to your peace, our peace, or travails with the child. Thank you for listening. God bless you so richly. I love you all on that side.
Thank you, Dr. Manuel. Thank you very much. I'm sure we all enjoyed this section, this time out with Dr. Manuel. For me, I enjoyed every bit of it, and I've learned so much, even as an educator myself. Okay, now we'll take questions. Questions? I can see Ijoma is putting up her hand. Are we ready to take questions? Do we have questions for Dr. Manuel? Okay, Akiolu Oludiran, please unmute yourself. You've been asked to unmute yourself.
Okay, thank you very much. Good morning, Mas. Good morning, sir. My name is Akiolu Oludiran. First, let me appreciate the school for this beautiful session. I'm a former parent, actually, so I saw the post from one of the school staff, and I said, oh, this is a good one, and I said, let me join. Though I joined late, and the little time I spent was quite worth my time. So thank you, Straight Gate. Dr. Manuel, thank you for this beautiful session. I enjoyed it and I appreciate it. And I appreciate the fact that it was also thrown open to those of us from outside, let me put it that way. So thank you. It's so impactful. Really, a comment and a few questions. Part of why I actually joined, yes, I appreciate the fact that this space is being addressed, because I feel that a lot has gone wrong, or a lot is going on wrong with the way we handle our children, especially as it affects their emotions and social needs that have been addressed today. And I like the fact that this is being taken to us parents. Some of us are not aware of some things. Some of us are just not paying attention, or some of us just don't feel those things are necessary. So it is my strong belief that more effort like this actually give the nation some strong hope and give these children a better future. I came in when Dr. Manuel was talking about the children's rights, and I share a lot of this sentiment. I agree with virtually everything that was said. But my concern and question, I believe the way rights operates anywhere in the world, number one, you need to be aware of your rights. Aside the parents, I think that is what is also done in a lot of developed world. They make these children aware that you have this right. When a policeman arrests you in places where it works, they will tell you first, you have a right to remain silent. So how do we make more efforts at making these children aware that they have this right? Because when that happens, not that they begin to demand it, but they begin to expect it from people that relate with them. So when you say they have right for respect, right for privacy, they begin to expect it, even if they are not being rude about it. So that is my first concern and my first question. Number two is, yes, these rights are there. And in my opinion, they are meant to be respected, and there are meant to be some level of implementation, if you ask me. Now, how do we push? Now, this is one very good move, making it happen. How do we, I don't want to use the word enforce, but how do we make it more compelling for parents to respect? For example, we know in developed climate, there are bodies that children can report to. I'm not saying that is a system that should work here. But for instance, a child that have a right, if he has some sort of support, maybe in school or at home, vice versa, and that right is somewhat violated, either way. So if I violate my child's right at home, how do we build a system such that maybe she can report in school and somebody can engage, even though it's stuff that happened at home? I just use school as an example. School may not have that authority, but how do we begin to infuse this into our system such that these children's rights are made known and they are somewhat fairly enforced to a certain degree? My second or third point is around teaching children these skills. I agree perfectly. That's the parents. We are the mirror. We are the number one, the best template for them to work with. What they see you do, they would do it. But I see that the presentation speaks more of parent. I also think, I don't know if this happens, I also think that mirror should also reflect from the school's end, the teachers, the school environment, because one, they spend more time, or they spend reasonable good number of time in school with the teachers, and they're also close to those people. They also look up to them. They also respect some things they do. So like when you mentioned love, I love where you said, if you tell me you love me, especially children, and your action does not suggest it, I don't take it. So how do we also encourage the schools to build and ensure that it's a joint responsibility, and they also need to show this lead by examples everywhere and make it a culture? Then the parents that are also hardly available. So if I'm not available, there's no mirror for this child to look at. So I think we also need to encourage ourselves to also spend more time and know that it's beyond paying school fees and making money available. That is the role we pay for these children. So once again, thank you very much for the beautiful session. That's my contributions and questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. God bless you for that contribution. Okay, so I remember in October, I happened to be a speaker at a human rights day. And this same question you asked me, I was asked. So the first thing I said was, children can't enjoy their rights because you can't enjoy what you don't know. But the schools must come in here. Schools must determine to let children know their rights. And because they are children, you must write it and paste it around the school, even if you have to make them repeat it on the assembly. You not only do that, it is when children know their rights that they can know and tell when somebody is infringing on it. To talk is a small thing because I need to know it first. If I now know it and I want to talk and you shut me up and you shut me up, I will let you know myself. Why are you shutting me up? I have a right to talk. Let's start from there first. Let the school be encouraged to expose these children to their rights. Write it, paste it around, use pictures, encourage them to look at it, encourage them to repeat it. That's the beginning of the solution for the problem. Now, we're talking again about that the emphasis too much was on the parents. You know, parents are the caregivers, primary caregivers. If I tell my child what to expect as she's leaving the house, if a teacher messes up, she will get back and tell me. I know it hurts me sometimes when I go to do things like this outside, and I even come across teachers who don't even know the rights of children. And I wonder, why are you sitting here? You can infringe on these rights and you can go to jail. Nigeria of today is not the Nigeria of tomorrow, of yesterday. So parents being caregivers, what we put in them from home matters. But I have to agree with you. You did say something. Is it not somebody that is at home that can spread love? But I said something earlier on. I said, do not go to bed without communicating with that child. Even if it's 10 minutes, it's very key. Do not go to bed without telling the child, you know, mama cares about you and I'm always here. Those things build a very strong foundation. We take our children to school. Unfortunately, some of them spend a lot of time in the school, but we're still the primary caregivers. The expectation is really on us. But I also like this because I'm sure that the teachers are listening. It is time for them to buckle up. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Manuel. There's a question here for you, Doctor. So how do you ensure all these principles are enshrined in children in a divorce situation? Did you get that, ma'am?
In a divorce situation,
yes,
do you know, a father can be a mother. I read the story of a girl who called her father my mother. Very dedicated man who knows what he should do at the right time. Do you know what I'm saying? Unless the two parents are dysfunctional, when parents are what and who they should be, divorced or not, I don't care. One should be able to do the right thing. You see, I've always said it. Divorce is not the problem. The problem is raising a child in a very negative environment. So the father should know what to do, and the mother should know what to do. I said it earlier on. Showing love, attention, empathy should be what should come to us as parents naturally. When it doesn't come naturally, then there's a problem. Maybe that should have been the question. And unfortunately, we don't have a society where we run a good foster system, because really, some children are better off without their parents. I don't know how to answer that, except to tell you that doing these things should come naturally to us. It does not matter whether the child stays with the mom or with the father. Any one of them should be able to do the right thing. Take their quarrel away from the child and make the child important.
Okay. Thank you, Doctor. I'm sure the parent who asked this question is still here with us, that either of the parents can actually should do the right thing, maybe whenever the child is with either the mom or dad. There's another question here, Dr. Manuel. How do we help raise a child's self-esteem? A child that loves to talk and play, but when you ask him or her a direct question, he or she will be shy to respond. Same happens in church. Child do not want to be asked direct questions or take up tasks.
Okay. Do you know, I don't want to deviate, but when we say, because what you're telling me, I'm looking deep into it. There's something called learning disability, and there are 3 types. We have dyslexia, dysgraphia, and dyscalculia. Now, the child is shy. Does the child maintain eye contact? Because if you stand before me, I want to ask some questions. But if it's a regular child, we're talking about hugging a child is important. Hugging a child is important. As a mother, pecking a child is important. Telling the child you can do it is important. Telling the child you are the best is important. You know, imagine a scenario of 2 children in the classroom and one is not doing well, but 2 of them are not doing well actually. And the teacher says to one, I'm tired of you. I don't know what else I need to do. You're stressing me. She says that every day. And the second teacher says to the other one, give me 5. You can do it. Give me 5. You can do it. I'm telling you. That child that gets that positive report, positive saying, will rise above whatever challenges is going through. So I'm saying, hugging a child, pecking a child, telling a child nice, positive words would actually increase the self-esteem of the child. I said to you earlier on, my second daughter is the biggest out of my children. She's a size 16. And you know, in the world of today, size 16 is like, you know, but my daughter is brilliant. When I noticed that thing in her from when she was 5, every time she's going out, she dresses, I say, Tammy, roll it for mama. She will smile. So Tammy, you are the best. And she's so pretty. Today, my daughter sits down to eat anything. You can't even bring a weight around her. She's so unaffected. Saying the right thing. You keep saying it. It's like you're watering a plant. Because that water you're putting there is what will make that plant to grow well. You don't know until you now see the adult evolving and you see a self-confident lady that nobody can put down. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Manuel. There's another question here. It says, can character evolve from natural traits regardless of parental influence? And if so, can such natural traits be reformed?
There is something called the theory of nurture and nature. The theory of nature and nurture, however you want to call it, nature, nurture is a theory. The nature part of it is what the child has come out with, what the child has inherited from the mother, from the father. That's the nature part. The nurture part is the environmental factor and what you are doing in the environment. Listen, so now when you notice that nature has given this child this thing, maybe the father talks a lot and you have a child who talks a lot and she likes to argue. You see it like that. There are things you can do in your nurturing area to step it down a little. So yes, character will come from the nature, but environment matters. Because a nature can even be very good, and the environment, if it is negative, can override whatever nature is bringing. My answer to you, ma'am, is that nature will give us something. If you don't like what nature has given you, you have the nurturing aspect, which is the environmental aspect to override whatever it is. Let me give you a typical example. If a woman graduated from the university with a pass, that's below the third class, and she marries a man with a third class, we know that the child is likely to come out disadvantaged because the two parents are not very, very intelligent academically. Now, so you have this child and you know what your limitations are. You know what you are academically, what your child is, what your husband is academically. You can decide to nurture that thing. Good school, good home tutoring, stimulating environment, name it. Before you know it, that child will be a high flyer. The same way, if you're a first class material and you marry a first class material, we know that your child is going to be hot, fine. But if you take things for granted, that child may not be able to do well academically. I hope I've done some justice to your question.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Manuel. There's another question here. It says, whenever I talk to my child calmly, he does not do whatever I ask him to do. He does them only when I spank him. Did you get that, ma'am?
I did. I used to say something. When it comes to the school, I say schools come in standard form. You know what a school is. You know what a school should have. Your expectation. But children come in diverse form. No two children are the same. By the grace of God, I have 5 children. And as an early childhood education expert, I know that I have within me 5 strategies. I have a child that if you know how to beat, continue. Is so unmoved. That child will need talking to, and not talking to anywhere. Also, when this child, if you want to reach him, you wake him up in the dead of the night, just sit down, let's talk. When the other person is not even hearing, people just notice that it's changing seriously. I also have a child that when you want to scold her, if you do it publicly, you can lose her. Do you understand? So now you have a child. When you talk to him calmly, he doesn't behave well. You might want to check your discipline strategy. You know one thing about children, don't threaten them. And I will beat you. You better do it, ma'am. If you don't do it, first, second, third time, the child will never take you serious. Check your discipline strategy. You know, you can ground that child. You're going to stay in your room all through today. You just bring your food in, you stay there. No TV, no nothing. You say, you mean it, you do it. It won't try nonsense with you again. So it all boils down to you. Say what you mean what you say. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Manuel. So the last question here is, how do we help a child that has grown up to hate the father because he was a fear figure, and also avoiding the mother because she feels her love is suffocating?
This is a very pathetic situation. Already the child needs counseling. There is a trust problem here because no mother's love is suffocating. The child has a trust issue. Trust me when I say that. The child has a trust issue. This child will need counseling very quickly. You need to give the child to somebody that the child will need to open up to. There's so much bottled up. You need to get to the root of the matter because he must not grow up like this. Seek counsel for the child and do it quickly. This is not a suffocating love. This is a trust issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Manuel. We have just 2 more questions to go. Said the idiosyncrasies of teachers also matters. How do you manage this without introducing disrespect for the teacher's opinions? You do not want to confuse the child as well when you run through the day with your child. I don't know if you got that question, ma'am. I think we've discussed that earlier. Hello, ma'am.
I'm listening.
Okay.
I'm trying to.
Okay.
Because the question is coming out like the school is doing something that the parents disagree with. I don't get it. So I think that at this point in time, the teacher should meet with the school. You know what I discover? You know what I discover? If a parent doesn't like a teacher, the child will not like the teacher, and the child will keep coming on with negative report about the teacher. Sometimes you shouldn't let children know what you feel about the teachers. But the case that you have just told me right now, I feel that the parents need to meet the school for some clarifications.
Okay. Okay. The last question. How do you balance students expressing their rights from being confrontational, either at home or in school?
I did say something earlier on when we're talking about the rights of children. I say rights of freedom of expression. And I did say we need to encourage children to express themselves, but respectfully. It is from when the child is small that you build respect in the child. You don't actually build respect in the child. It is what you do. The way the child see you respecting others is what the child will do. So if you have a child that does not respect others, you might want to look into yourself because there's a problem already and you need to take a drastic step because the world is built on respect. If you have a child that wants to show his rights and wants to be confrontational, then it means that you are not teaching the rights rightly. So I have a right to express what I feel, but respectfully. So this actually boils down to the people who are teaching the child his or her rights. How do you teach the child his right? He doesn't have a right, so he can be rude. He doesn't have a right to be rude. Because when you're rude, you're also infringing on the rights of other people. We need to take out time to teach the child respect. It's very important. If a child does not respect others, he will not respect his own children as adults.
Don't worry, we hear it.
Before you know it, he starts to disrespect himself. Do you know that there are things that you do, you feel that you're disrespecting others, but you are actually disrespecting yourself? Because when somebody is not up to you, is standing up and correcting you, then you've disrespected yourself. We need to teach children respect by our own actions and through value-laden stories.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Manuel.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I see parents giving testimonies already. We've all had a very great section with you. Thank you so much, Dr. Manuel. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, I think I'll just take the closing prayer. Thank you, parents. Thank you all for joining. God bless you all. I see a lot of us requesting
so
for
much.
more of this. More of
We really
this too.
enjoy you, ma'am. Thank you.
God bless you. I'm glad to be here too.
Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Mom.
Love you, girl.
Thank you,
Mom. God bless
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Thank
God
you. Love
bless
you.
you.
Bye.
Another
Bye, ma'am.
time.
Thank you so much, man.
Thank you, Ma.
God bless you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, everyone. I think we'll just take the
Thank you very
closing
much.
prayer.
Thank you, Ma.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. You're all welcome. Thank you very much, Dr. Manuel. We'll take the grace now. Thank you very much. Thank you. We've had more than an hour with Dr. Manuel. It's time for us all to go. Thank you so much. Let's all share the grace, please.
Grace of our Lord Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ.
The grace of our
love
Lord
of
Jesus.
Of God, and
God,
the
the sweet fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with us now
Now and
and
forevermore.
forevermore.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, teachers. Thank you.
Thank you, ma.
God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Ma'am, bye. Bye, everybody.
Thank you,
What was it?
everyone.
Was nice. Okay.
Mommy,
You
can
can
I press
actually.
Mommy, should I press leave meeting? Leave meeting.
Okay. Oh, that's what I will. Was made.